win back-to-back FedEx Cup titles.
Yes, he is thinking about doing that. And I love the messaging that he said that, his driver has always been a strength for him. And it hasn't been that way since they came on back from the break. It just hasn't been there. And for him, drivers set up his scoring opportunities. And when he's driving the ball well, he wedges it and he putts it. And then that's what he's doing. And that's what he's doing this week. And that's why he's at the top of the leaderboard right now.
Well, a week ago, 1 under par missed the 36-hole cut by 2 shots. This week, 1 under par is the 36-hole lead. Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay, the co-leaders, -1. The only 2 players under par for the week. As PGA Tour radio coverage from the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs continues, just underway for round 3 of the BMW Championship.
Saturday, moving day at the BMW Championship in the greater Chicagoland area. And that, of course, the famed fighting song of the greatest team in the land, the Chicago Cubs. That would be your 2016 World Series champions. Now, we are on the south side here this week. That is traditionally White Sox territory, with Wrigley Field, the home of the Chicago Cubs, residing on the north side of Chicago. But the lovable losers no more after that wonderful run to the title just 4 seasons ago. Chicago itself, the proper city, is 237 square miles of land, home to more than 2.7 million residents. Sadly, not all of them root for the blue and red of the Cubs, but I happened to be there for the victory celebration, the parade back in 2016, where they estimated that the population of Chicago proper doubled that day. Millions and millions of people down Michigan Avenue and then into the park. One of the greatest sports celebrations of our time. It's Cubs land, folks. Even had a chance to wear the World Series ring last year. Go Cubs go to all of you lovable loser fans out there.
And the Cubs right now sitting atop the NL Central when basically everybody makes the playoffs in both the NL and the AL this year. The Cubs, by the way, 2 fewer wins than your San Diego Padres right now this season, Dennis.
Yeah, they've been playing some really good ball, and I don't know. I know you guys probably don't get to follow it as much, but I've not seen a team since you guys last year in Washington that just had so much fun in the dugout, so much stuff, the celebrations and the things that the players were doing, and they're a team. They're a brotherhood, and I think it's really neat to see every single home run they're doing those fun little dances in the dugout, and just really it's been a team sport, unlike golf. You don't have a lot of people to hang out. You drive it in the rough, there's no one to hand off to, Earl. You got to play that shot yourself.
Well, a little Chicago flavor. A guy from around here, Kevin Streelman, had a great day. 4 under par, bogey-free round of golf, 66. And I know he's a big Cubs fan too, Will.
Giant Cubs fan, Earl. And in fact, earlier this week, he got a chance to just prove how deep of a Cubs fan those roots really run for Streels. He was able to record a rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. They have celebrities at every game at Wrigley Field traditionally through the years. Harry Carey, of course, made the singing of Take Me Out to the Ball Game at the 7th inning stretch so popular. And now this year, obviously without fans in the ballpark, they've been having the occasional celebrity singer of the 7th inning stretch on the video board or on the television broadcast. So Streels got a chance to record it, and maybe the karma of that rubbing off a little bit today. Really struggled with the putter the first 2 days, but Streelman in with that 66 you mentioned. That's the round of the week thus far. So again, it takes a little while sometimes for the franchise, and it took a little while for Streels this week, but he found something a little magical today.
Yeah, something really magical. He had 6 3-putts through the first 2 rounds. That's not Streels-like at all, and it looks like he putted much better today in that round of 4 under par, which is right now the round of the day, round of the week, and it'd be pretty special to shoot something better than that this afternoon, I think.
Well, and he needs it. He's one of those 3 guys I mentioned, Dennis, that was inside the top 30, 28th, and projects outside the top 30 right now. So Sunday is must do for him. Lonto Griffin now at 16, plus 2, a little pitch shot in front of the green hits. Will it stop? Oh, yeah, it does. And it stops in the cup. That's at the 4th. 3 hops and a dunk for Lonto Griffin. Birdie at 1, eagle 2 at the 4th. He's quickly 3 under and back to even.
Wow, that is a big statement to make early right there. That ball, it hit in the flagstick pretty hard, but it was ready to grab and going to be really, really close to the hole. I think if the hole was maybe a 1.5 feet farther back, it might not have got to it because it was really trying to slam on the brakes. You could just see it grinding, and it took a skip and a hop and went in. Wow, what a golf shot.
So this is kind of what Patrick Cantlay did yesterday. Look, it's a tough golf course. You're not going to get on birdie runs. You kind of just hope something crazy, special happens. Cantlay had that hole out, that great one in the back nine, finished with a birdie. Something like that happens. I mean, we're not talking low 60s, but that's how you score here. Make something like that happen, like Lonto Griffin has done early in his round.
Yeah, you do that. I mean, Patrick got away with a few. I mean, Hideki Matsuyama, that 73, I think, was really special because he didn't have it. Couldn't hit a fairway, couldn't hit a green once he did hit a fairway. It was a struggle all day long for him. And for him to be able to get that in the house at 73, I think that was kind of special. Rory, on the other hand, hasn't done anything really special yet at all. I mean, it's basically been business as usual, fairways and greens, and not doing a whole lot, not making a lot of putts, not missing anything. I think his short putting is a lot better. But it hasn't been really laden with any kind of special things that have happened. And that's the thing that I'm wondering about Patrick Cantlay. That round of golf that he shot at 2 under par, that was probably about 105% of what it should have been. You know what I mean? I mean, he got away with a little bit there. So Rory has been living in that 85-90% range and shooting scores that are right around par. It'll be interesting today to see if Rory is going to get something special to happen, or if the guys behind him don't get the special little help and do something special, and it might stretch out. I have a feeling this leaderboard is going to stretch out just a little bit, because if you play well, the course is kind of gettable, Carl. Or we've seen shots, right? We've seen a lot of quality golf shots from the fairway. Why these players are refusing to put the ball in the fairway is beyond me, or trying to take on so much of that hard shot to get the ball in the fairway. They've got to cut the dog leg. They got to land it in the rough. They got to hope that it takes not a big hop or a big enough hop to get into the fairway, instead of just playing down the fairway and put it in the fairway and take a shot from 170 yards.
Well, one place, it looks like 6 today. It's short. 149, par 3, front hole location, attackable. And Corey Connors not only attacked it, he aced it. A hole-in-one today at the 6 for Corey Connors. His first on the PGA Tour. He used... It was at the 6th hole with a 9-iron from 149. So he got off to a 3-under start now. After that, he bogeyed 7, 8, 9. Those holes again to finish up. But at least he's got that ace. And maybe a place where on the front 9, some of these players can kind of be aggressive and go after it. Short par 3 today.
Yeah, like we said, that 7, 8, 9 were playing so tough because they were back into the breeze. Now they're not so much into the breeze, and they'll play a little different today, especially with 16, 17, and 18. A little different setup. The hardest hole in the golf course right now is number 10. It's been a hole that you could drive it down there and give yourself a little sand wedge, and that's the hardest hole in the golf course right now. It's playing 10 over par. So it's kind of a flip. One's not a gimme right now. How often are par 5s not ranked as some of the easiest holes on the golf course? It's 13th ranked hole on the golf course right now. So it's just a little different. 4 is 402 yards, and that shot that Lonto Griffin had was a short shot. I mean, he wasn't more than about 85 or 90 yards. So it's going to be interesting for the players because they've got to figure out a different golf course now, Earl. This is not the same golf course. You're not going to hit identical shots off tees and have them end up in the exact same places.
That was after a 336-yard tee shot for Lonto Griffin. Knocks it in from the deuce from just inside 70 yards, Fred Albers.
Bubba Watson has put 2 solid rounds together, 72 and 70, needs 2 even better rounds this weekend. Is 58th in FedEx Cup points, has a chance to birdie the first, 6.5 feet. Back through, rolls that up and in. A birdie at the first for Bubba Watson. 1 under today, 1 over for the week. That'll climb him a little bit in those projected FedEx Cup standings.
Absolutely. Well, when you're up near the top like that, you do pick up points pretty quick when you pick up a shot. And that first hole is only playing 1 under par for the day right now, or a par 5 that was the easiest hole and played 27 under par in the opening round. Completely different animal, playing a little more back into the wind today.
Yeah, and Bubba close to where he needs to be. Projected right now, needs a tie for 3rd or higher, so another birdie could push him just inside the top 30. And again this week, right now, bunched up leaderboard and tough scoring. Either way, I mean, these top 30 spots are very much up in the air for the weekend.
They are really up in the air. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that the guys down there that were just outside the bubble haven't played very well. The pressure is shown a little bit on those bubble boys. And now they're in a situation, even though they're starting to play a little better, even if they make the move, they're not picking up that many points. And the guys that really needed to make a move are up near the top right now. But a hiccup and they're going to drop really quickly in those standings.
Yeah, and you look at a guy like McElroy, we've discussed now his struggles since a return to golf. He was third in FedEx Cup points when play resumed for the season. He comes in this week, number 12 in FedEx Cup points. So you put the numbers on it, the stroke score numbers for next week at the Tour Championship. 12, Rory would be one of those at 3 under par, 7 shots behind whoever the FedEx Cup points leader and the Tour Championship leader is going to be. Right now in a tie for first, he's second. Depending on how things shake out, he could be number 1 in FedEx Cup points. That's how huge this tournament right now for a guy like McElroy trying to defend his FedEx Cup title and be the first to do it. That's how huge it's been so far for 2 rounds.
Yeah, and the thing that if you really do a look inside the numbers and where everybody sits up, it's not jammed up, Earl. It's spread out, and most leaderboards aren't that spread out. I mean, it's kind of an equal spread in the way the point system works, and the scoring, I should say, just the stroke system works. So even though he's 12th, he's pretty far back. I mean, usually 12th would be a little closer to the program than where he's at, and that's the big issue. It's not how many people necessarily are in front of you, it's how many back you are right now, because you got to climb them out, and you're going to need some help, basically, and play really well.
And that's where the second-year stroke-based scoring for the Tour Championship, Dennis, it's great because you can tangibly wrap your hands around that a lot more, knowing how many shots am I up, how many am I back, and it's really, percentage-wise, it represents the same odds that they used to have going into the Tour Championship. They've just put a relation to par score on it, and it's been terrific. This is the second year of it, Fred.
Earl Mackenzie Hughes, one of the few players this week to post a score beginning with a 6, shot a score of 69 in the opening round, backed it up with a 73 on Friday, and has a birdie putt at our par 5 opening hole of 24 feet. This would drive players absolutely batty if they realize this, but I can tell you from the computer projections, if this goes in, Mackenzie Hughes projects to go 29th in the FedEx Cup rankings, currently just outside that magic top 30. Birdie here at the first would have him inside, and that moves up and down throughout the round depending on how Mackenzie plays and those in the field play. Mackenzie Hughes has looked once, twice, and now strokes the ball. Sends it on its way up a ridge, bending to the right by the cup and in. Hello, Mr. 29. Mackenzie Hughes now inside the bubble.
There you go. And that's the thing that I think I like about the stroke-based system, Earl, that it's not so much based on, remember we were always talking about somebody else could make or miss a putt that affected you and where you finished, as opposed to now, I'm kind of affecting myself. Yes, a guy can beat me, but it's not somebody below me that's going to pick up one shot or lose a shot to give somebody else extra points to make them move up. I think that's something that really makes this dynamic a lot easier to follow.
Let's move over to part of the coverage from the Masters Players Championship and PGA Championship in recent years. Will Haskett.
Off a birdie at the first, Bubba Watson, beautiful tee ball at the par 4 second hole. In fact, Bubba Watson was tied for the lead in this tournament through 36 holes in terms of fairways hit in regulation. That is a warning sign to the field, and Bubba is also finding fairways with his ability to shape it and hit it deep. We'll flip wedge to a middle left hole location. This one is excellent. I should say middle right. That one just puts on the brakes as it skips past hole high left, and Bubba with a great opportunity to go back to back at 1 and 2. That's just outside of 10 feet for Bubba Watson here at 2.
Saturday in red numbers, the 2 co-leaders, Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay at -1. That's a 1-shot lead over 3 golfers now. Even par. Lanto Griffin after the hole out eagle 2 at 4. He's 3 under in the round and tied for third at even now with Dustin Johnson and Hideki Matsuyama 1 shot back. Bubba Watson on the board early with the birdie. He's +1, tied for 6 for Bubba with former FedEx Cup champ Billy Horschel. Mackenzie Hughes, who's also birdied the first hole for +1 now, and Adam Scott, Brendan Todd, Louis Oosthuizen, and Tony Finau start their Saturday rounds 1 over and 2 shots back. Tom Wormy.
Third shot at the par 5 15th hole for John Rahm, 75 feet away from a front left hole location. He is short and left coming out of the rough. He's got that face laid wide open with a lofted club. Sends this one way up in the air. This one lands left of the hole very softly and rolls behind the hole about 5 feet away. Now that was exceptionally professional. What a shot from John Rahm. He's got to look at birdie. If it drops, it's his 5th of the day, and Rahm goes to +2 for our championship.
right now, but currently he is +3 along with him. Also, Xander Schauffele, he's even through 2 for +3. Bryson DeChambeau, a couple over through 3 holes, not the way he wanted to get his day started. He's +5. Justin Thomas trying to finish his round. He's under par right now. Would love to finish with a couple of birdies. He's through 16 at +6. Colin Morikawa, a 2 under par, 68 gets him to +7. Scotty Scheffler, very good chance of Rookie of the Year honors. He is +2 with a 72. That's a back-to-back 72s. He's +9. And Tiger Woods tripled the 17th hole coming in. Played well early, but finishes with a 72. He's +10.
Season number 30 in the Korn Ferry Tour continues at Victoria National Golf Club in southwestern Indiana this week. Round 3 underway at the Korn Ferry Tour Championship presented by United Leasing and Finance. They've got a logjam. 4 players tied for the lead. Dari Vanderwalt, Seth Reeves, Grayson Sigg, and Vince India early in round 3, all at 11 under par. Let's go to Tom Wormy again.
15th hole, Earl, is a par 5. John Rahm looking at a 7-foot birdie putt. He's beyond the hole, which is cut front left today at the 15th. 9 paces on and just 3 from the left edge. And this birdie would be number 5 on the day against 1 bogey if it does fall. It's going to try to creep to his left as Rahm takes a very small practice stroke and then puts the blade behind the golf ball. Adjustment of the hindquarters. One last look at the hole. 7 feet away for birdie for John Rahm. Taps it out to the right, back to the left, and in the middle for John Rahm. Up and down from short and left out of the rough for birdie at 15 for Rahm. And he moves to +2 for the championship. He's 4 under for the day. Birdie at 15, Rahm.
And a big smile on his face. That's a good round of golf, and he knows that he needed to do that. He kind of dug himself a pretty big hole, but he's playing well, and he's the kind of guy that can get on a really good little run. Maybe not just all today, but also on Sunday.
Back at the second hole, Will Haskett.
7.5 feet for Bubba Watson and a back-to-back birdie start to let the leaders take a little notice. Hooking putt down the slope. He hates it. Jammed it right through the break on the left-hand side. There was recoil in that stroke. He disliked it so much. And Bubba Watson cannot take advantage of 2 good swings here at 2. Stays at +1 and for the moment lurking outside the top 30 in FedEx Cup points.
On a difficult week.
He's 71 and has an 11-foot birdie opportunity at the par 5 opening hole. Tony began the week 29th in the FedEx Cup standings. Rose that ball down the hill, now just by the cup. And he raises his hand in disappointment, slaps his thigh, goes up and taps in only 2 par 5s on this golf course, and Tony Finau has parred what was the easiest hole in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, a little disappointing there. Gave himself a pretty good opportunity, but that putt did move a little left early and then just fell back to the right, and that was the thing that he just didn't factor in there. Because when that putt was about 4 feet from the hole, he really liked it, and then it moved right, and he kind of got, wow, what was that supposed to be doing there?
Well, not the easiest hole today. So far, that short par 4, 402 at the 4th, has given up. They had the Eagle by Lonto Griffin, the hole out, and 13 birdies. So right now, the 4th playing is the easiest hole in the front 9, one of the easiest of the day, Fred.
Louis Oosthuizen rounds of 72 and 69. Needs a solo 3rd or better in order to move to Atlanta. He was the bubble boy at the start of the week, 70th, coming into the BMW Championship. For birdie at the first, an 8-footer, rolled always quickly up and out of it. Knew immediately that was not going to go down, and it'll be a par at the first for Louis Oosthuizen. You know, Earl, last week, and I know you know this because you were the main anchor, but he had to endure the rain delay at Northern Trust, then come back, birdie his 72nd hole just to get here to the BMW Championship.
Yeah, he had put his ball in the fairway. We had the late horn there as Dustin Johnson was, cruising to what ended up being a really relatively easy win at 30 under par, and then we had to wait out the weather delay, and Louis had to make a birdie on that finishing par 5. He did it, looked very calm, cool, and collected, had to wait a little longer than he wanted to, but yeah, last player, one of the last players on the course last week became the last player into this BMW Championship, Louis Oosthuizen.
And the thing that I heard afterwards is that he actually raced out to the range because they had 4 or 5 minutes, said he hit 3 irons and hit them all fat on the range and went out and just flushed it on 18. I mean, just striped it. Because I don't even need to see that because he couldn't see the flag stick barely, as dark as it was.
A little dark at the end last week. John Rahm's on a roll. He's got one of the better rounds of the week going. Let's go out to 16 and Tom Wormy.
The 16th hole is a par 3, playing 188 today. into a strong breeze for Jon Rahm from an elevated tee box. And you descend down about 25 feet from the tee box to this green complex. Hole location today at 16. Front right, 6 on, 6 from the right edge. That flag on top of the stick fully unfurled, pointing towards the front of the green for Jon Rahm. His ball comes down and is not on the surface. So Jon Rahm with a misfire after the birdie at 15 at the par 3 16th from 188 cannot find the green.
After the par 5 opening hole, you have 2 difficult par 4s today at 2 and 3. Let's go out to Will Haskett.
Not difficult so far for Billy Horschel at the second. Good drive, excellent second shot, just 9.5 feet for a birdie to get to level par. Billy quickly over it, strokes it to the cup and missed it on the left side. That man will show you his emotion with every golf swing, and he is not happy after that one. Just didn't cooperate. He'll settle for a par. Mackenzie Hughes was playing alongside off of a birdie at the first. He missed the green right, short-sided, but hit a delicate little chip inside tap-in range. So both of these players exit the second green. Horschel and Hughes heading to 3 at +1.
Yeah, that win going to be a little different story for 2 and 3, and that's where they're playing a little more difficult as opposed to being down. They're playing a little more in and out of the left, very uncomfortable kind of feeling for a right-handed golfer. So those 2 holes right there really get you. But 4, playing down breeze, is one that if you can fit it in the fairway, it'd be different. And number 5 is going to play pretty tough because it's 421 yards, but it's playing back into the wind, and it's very tight. Guys have been able to hit irons off the tee and get wedges in their hand. They're not able to do that today. They're going to have to force something down the fairway a little bit more if they want to be able to get a wedge in their hand there at number 5. So a much different start than we had in the opening 2 rounds with this change in wind.
Down to the final couple of groups now to get on the course. DJ Matsuyama underway in a few minutes, and about 15 or so, a little less than that, from the co-leaders Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay, starting their days -1. You're listening to coverage of the BMW Championship, second of 3 events in the FedEx Cup playoffs on PGA Tour Radio. Final couple of weekends. This is the second event of the FedEx Cup playoffs at the BMW Championship. Earl Forsey with analyst Dennis Paulson. Top 30 in the FedEx Cup standings at the end of tomorrow's play. Advance to the Tour Championship at East Lake next week, beginning on Friday and concluding on Labor Day to crown a FedEx Cup champion. And something this week that's different and unique because of the 91-day shutdown for the COVID-19 pandemic as a result of changes to the golf calendar this summer, Dennis. The top 30 this week, even if you have not won a tournament on the PGA Tour, the top 30 in FedEx Cup points will all qualify for the 2021 Century Tournament of Champions at Kapalua, the field including an additional qualification category for this year only, consisting of the top 30 in the final FedEx Cup points list. So we'll know 30 more players, even if they have not won a tournament on the PGA Tour this year, that will get to start their seasons in Maui next week and next year to begin the second part of the wraparound schedule in January at Kapalua.
I think it's such a great thing that they really thought about that going forward. I know that every tournament looks at who's playing in their event and who's qualified, and I'm sure somebody from Century got together and said, hey, we got like 12 guys in the field right now. What are we going to do here? We got to try to figure out something. Do we give past champions maybe a chance? And they worked it out, and I love this format that they did. Give that other extra carrot to the top 30 that get there, because it is very difficult to get to the top 30, and if you do it without winning, that's really a good season of golf. You've played some great golf to do it.
And just a great way to start the new calendar year after the holidays, to get to go to Maui for a week and play some golf, Tom Wormy.
Jon Rahm at the par 3 16th, the 4-footer for par, came out of the bunker short of this whole location from about 30 feet away. His bunker play hit the fringe and kicked forward towards the hole, but came up short about 4 feet. So that remaining for Jon Rahm now for his par, coming off a birdie at the par 5 15th. Jon Rahm is +2 and 4 under for the day, trying to stay that way from 4 feet away here at 16. Rehearsal strokes complete, now ready to go. Jon Rahm, 4 feet away, spreads the feet, establishes the base, steady over it, last look, pulls the putter back, sends it up to the cup, and it goes in the middle. Sand save, Jon Rahm at 16.
That's a really nice sand save right there. These good rounds of golf, Earl, that we're seeing on the golf course, I guarantee you the highlights might be a good par save as opposed to a birdie that I made through the day, because that keeps that momentum going for him to play those last 2 holes. You make that birdie at 15, you don't want to give it right back on 16. He's able to do that, and now he's going to one of the hardest holes on the golf course, the 17th hole, playing back into that wind. It was the hardest earlier, and it still is. It's playing 8 over par right now.
Well, looking at top 30, we have 4 players projected in now. Joaquin Niemann off to a 1-under start through 4, so he is projected at 28th in FedEx Cup points, meaning Adam Scott is the guy on the bubble now, last 30th projected in the FedEx Cup standings, just getting his 3rd round underway right now. Adam Scott projects 10 points ahead of Cameron Smith for that last spot in the top 30.
There's going to be some movement, and as Freddie mentioned earlier, the players' heads would explode if they really were wrapping their head around every single putt that they had, every single shot they had, and where it would put them. I don't think they're really going to start paying attention to it a whole lot until late on Sunday on that back 9.
Yeah, but we always know, Fred Albers.
In fact, Brendan Todd would move into 10th place if he can birdie this first hole. How big is that? That's worth a stroke. Remember, it's a staggered start next week where you can start under par. And a birdie here, top 10 in projected FedEx Cup points. That would give him another stroke under par to begin the Tour Championship. 15 feet for birdie at the first for Brendan Todd, coming off a sparkling 68 on Friday. Sends the ball on its way, trying to hold its line to the edge, just bled out to the right-hand side, and a tap-in par for Brendan Todd.
All right. It's going to be interesting today to see how many guys actually shoot in the 60s, Earl. I have a feeling more than anything, with the fact that it's a little cooler, that'll help the players. But the moisture that they didn't get is still going to make the course play difficult. So it's something that they don't have to really factor in. Holes are going to play different because of the different wind, but the greens are similar to what they were yesterday. And I think the players are getting a better idea of how to play shots to greens, what greens are firm, what greens might be a little softer. All those little things and that knowledge that they have, I think the scoring should be just a little better today.
Fred Albers, back to you.
Well, here's a man that was on the outside looking in for so long, had a late start, resuming the tour after the quarantine. Adam Scott, a 12-footer for birdie at the first. The flagstick is in and the ball is not. Turned to the left as it approached the hole. Adam thought he made that. Adam playing some good golf, rounds of 72 and 69. He projects inside the top 30 at the moment. As I said, he got a late start, rejoining the tour late. Dennis, you saw him at the PGA. You asked him, how are you playing, Adam? What did he say?
I have no idea. I've got no idea how I'm playing, and you're going to a major championship. But that golf swing right there travels pretty nicely, and you don't need a whole lot of warming up to get that swing going. He has got such a beautiful ball striker. But scoring is everything, Earl. We saw it. Tiger Woods, I thought, played pretty well this week, but his scoring has been abysmal this week. He just hasn't got anything out of his rounds of golf, and that's what it's all about.
Well, getting any kind of positive momentum is tough this week. Keeping it is just as difficult. Lonto Griffin, after the hole-out eagle 2 at 4, just missed a 10-footer or so for a second straight bogey at the 6. So after the 2 at 4, he goes bogey, back to 1 under on the round and back to +2 for the week.
Just like having it slam off the flagstick and you miss a 6-footer and then you make a couple pars. The score's all the same. It's just a different way to get to it. And that's the thing. I think when you do something special, you've got to try to stay calm. Lonto didn't do anything wrong there. It's just the nature of the golf course. It taketh and it giveth away. And that's the issue that Lonto Griffin's in right now. He's got to get a little bit of that momentum back when he hits the 7.
Will Haskett, back down to you.
After a big drive at the second, Tony Finau didn't get the right number trying to play his second into the green up ahead. Came up well short. 29-footer for birdie is on its way. It's outside right, trying to hook it back left. This is a pretty good line, but he didn't hit it hard enough. And Finau still with 3 feet to save his par and stay at +1. Louis Oosthuizen missed the green here at 2, was able to get it up and down to stay at +1.
I mentioned, yesterday a lot about how much the wind factors into trying to hit golf shots, because when you're playing a shot into the wind, you want to flight it down, but the greens are so firm that beautiful little shot won't be receptive and hit the green and react the way you want to. So now you're hitting that little down shot, but you're landing at some 35, maybe 40 feet shorter than you normally would into the wind, and it's still skipping forward. It's just an uneasy feeling to play that type of a shot, to try to get it close to the hole, because it's just so technically difficult to do that with the greens being this firm.
Co-leaders Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay about to start their third round in a few minutes. Let's go to one. Fred Albers.
Hideki Matsuyama, 301 yards out at the par 5 opening hole. This measures 614. He's going to try to reach it into the wind. There's a lash at the ball. Ooh, a gust of wind. That's really going to have to fight to make the green. Turns it over to the left. I put it in the green side bunker. He got a lot of that ball. Got a bad hop, or it would have been on the putting surface. As it is, we'll have a bunker play for eagle at the first at Hideki Matsuyama.
And that's not a bad spot. It really isn't. I mean, not many guys have been able to get there. Ben On's the only player to get it on the green. He hit a great shot in there from 305 to 17 feet. And no one's actually even got it into the sand up at the green. So that's the first ball that's actually in the sand. Louis Oosthuizen got it up and down from the bunker there. Let's go to Will.
Louis Oosthuizen got it up and down here at 2 as well, Dennis Paulson, but cannot say the same for the short game prowess of Tony Finau. We heard that 29-footer that came up short. He then missed the 3-footer for his par. It's a 3-putt from inside of 30 feet for Tony Finau here at the second hole. He falls back to +2. Tom?
Will, at the 17th hole, John Rahm has found the left center of the fairway. 165 is the number. Uphill second shot to this green complex. Hole location is cut back left, and the breeze from Rahm's left. John Rahm, second shot. Clean little piece of earth for the divot. Ball comes down to the green, hits back right. One bounce, a second bounce. It screeches to a...
Imperial head.
Patrick Cantlay dressed in black. Black Bart. Black driver. Set to hit here at the first. That looks like it's headed a little right leaning, but then he's acting like maybe it's going to hang in there. Headed up the right side, takes a big kick to the right, and that should be in one of the bunkers on the right-hand side. Not a good drive for Patrick Cantlay on the first.
All right, so 2 players, 1 under. The only 2 players under par for the entire week so far at an extremely difficult Olympia Fields Country Club for the second event of the FedEx Cup playoffs, the BMW Championship. Former champ, winner Crooked Stick, 2012 is one of the co-leaders. He's on the team. Rory McIlroy, DP.
He is. Driver in hand, white cap, yellow shirt, navy blue pants, and white shoes. That swing had nice balance. Started out to the right. Needs to turn over to fight the breeze, and it looks like it's hanging right. And it is. That is well right. Takes a huge hop off the bunker and kicks over to, I believe that's a 10th hole, and that's going to be in the rough. So not sure the angle will be okay, but how many trees are going to be between him and getting back in play? Not very good tee balls for either player in this final group at number 1.
Up ahead near the green, Fred Albers.
Dustin Johnson gets to experience his bunker game early in the round, put his third at the par 5 first. In the green side bunker, he is short-sided. Flips that out, plenty of air underneath there, and still the ball releases. Carried that too far. That's going to be outside of 10 feet upcoming for Dustin Johnson. That'll be for par.
Oh, that's not a very good shot at all. It's a tough one to get close because of where the wind's coming from, but not his best effort, that's for sure.
And Fred, right back to you again.
Hideki Matsuyama, 37 feet away in the green side bunker at the par 5 opening hole from outside of 300 yards. Put it in the sand. That qualified as a good play. Now trying to get this up and in for eagle. Hideki Matsuyama steadies himself, always has a wide stance. And now, blast that out. On a nice line, up by the cup, he did it! He holed it out! Yes, he did! A hole-out eagle at the first for Hideki Matsuyama. He moves quickly to 2 under.
Wow, a little bit of that magician going on again today after the hole out he made at 8 yesterday, and nothing really to show for it after that. But there's no better way to get started on your day than making an eagle at the first.
My goodness, Matsuyama, who yesterday, like you said, Dennis, made the 1 birdie. It was a chip in at the 8th. Holes out for eagle at the first hole, and McIlroy and Cantlay back in the fairway. They are now tied for second with Hideki Matsuyama in front, 2 under par. He would project number 2 in FedEx Cup points behind Dustin Johnson with a win.
That is incredible with that one right there. And great shot. It was a pretty straightforward and easy bunker shot, but it's one thing to get it up and down. It's another thing to hole it. And Hideki doing something that you really kind of don't expect that often to hole out a bunker shot. It was a fairly easy one, but that was really nice.
And Matsuyama chasing this weekend what would be his first win ever in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Now the leader, Fred.
You know, when you say he's in the bunker trying to hold out for eagle, you're just kind of covering your cards, letting our listeners know that an eagle is still possible here. But a good shot would have been inside of 5 feet and a birdie. But you have to say this is for eagle, and son of a gun, he makes eagle at the first. I think that's just the 4th eagle of the week. Not on this hole, for the entire week over the golf course. Dustin Johnson all ready to play. Maybe you can hear the train in the background and some cart traffic. DJ backs off, tells the driver, go ahead, not the driver of the train. The engineer isn't listening, but the cart driver stops. Now Dustin Johnson for birdie at the first. Excuse me, this for par. 15-footer down the slope, now curving to the left and does not go. Dennis, that's kind of a sloppy start for DJ. Put it in the rough off the tee, second in the rough, third in the bunker. Just not a good opening hole for Dustin Johnson. He makes bogey.
Yeah, he hit a good drive up the left-hand side. The wind never really moved it. It looked like it caught that fairway bunker, and he was so close to the lip, he kind of played out to the right. And I don't know if he got more ball, but he hit it well out to the right. You're right. It was a very wild shot, and just not a very good play at all for DJ. I agree with you. Very sloppy opening hole.
You're listening to exclusive coverage of the BMW Championship, the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs, from Olympia Fields Country Club in suburban Chicago, Illinois. And as we do at the top and bottom of every hour in our live play-by-play coverage, time now for a leaderboard update presented by Titleist.
Once again, it's a leaderboard full of players trusting Titleist, with 71% of the field relying on the speed, precision, and consistency of the Pro V1 and Pro V1X. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. And a change atop the leaderboard as we start round 3 with Hideki Matsuyama now in front.
Hideki Matsuyama, 37 feet away in the greenside bunker at the par 5 opening hole. And now, blast that out on a nice line. Up by the cup, he did it! He holed it out! Yes, he did! A hole-out eagle at the first for Hideki Matsuyama. He moves quickly to 2 under.
And the leader by 1, Matsuyama, the hole-out 3, moves in front of Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay, who are tied for second now, playing that first hole at 1 under par. Tied for 4th at +1, former FedEx Cup champ Billy Horschel, even today. Mackenzie Hughes, 1 under through 3. He's gotten it to +1. Kevin Kisner gets birdie at the 4th. He's now to +1 as well, with Louis Oosthuizen and Adam Scott. Brendan Todd and Dustin Johnson, after a bogey at 1, now all tied +1. 3 shots off the lead, Tom Wormy.
Or one of the better rounds of the day being fashioned by the Spaniard John Rahm, +2 and 4 under for the day, and he's going to stay that way after a 2-putt from 35 feet away across the back edge at the 17th green with a back left hole location. He made a 3.5-footer for his 4 at 17, 1 to play for John Rahm. He's +2 for the BMW Championship.
And one of the favorable tee balls with that wind at 18. Maybe he can pick up 1 more. Xander Schauffele getting his day started. He's even through 4 for +3. Bryson DeChambeau, 1 over through 5. He is +4. Patrick Reed, 1 over through 10 for +5. And Colin Morikawa, a nice 68. Finishes at +7 through 54 holes. Justin Thomas, a 1 over par 71. He's in at +8. Scotty Scheffler, he is 2 over par for +9 with a 72. And Tiger Woods had it going, but a triple at 17 kind of put an end to his day. He's at +10 after a 72 in the 3rd round.
70th season LPGA Tour continuing this week with the Walmart Northwest Arkansas Championship presented by P&G Pinnacle Country Club in Rogers, Arkansas. And an 8 under second round so far for Sei Young Kim has vaulted her to the top of the leaderboard. And a big lead, 14 under par. That's 4 shots up on Austin Ernst, who is second right now at -10. To Will Haskett.
Adam Scott went through the fairway at the par 4 second hole, and from 130 yards played to the front edge of the green, rolled inside 25 feet. Now for the birdie payoff, Scott strokes the putt. It is slow, trying to creep to the cup, and another player that comes up short here at 2. It will result in a 2-putt par for Adam Scott to stay at 1 over par.
All right. Adam Scott is going to have to get his day going, and he's right on that bubble. And seeing that he's tied for 4th and 30th every shot really means a lot to him right now, because if he loses one, he'll definitely fall out of that top 30. Let's go to Fred.
Patrick Cantlay missed the fairway, then missed the fairway on his second shot as well from out of the rough on the left-hand side, 146 yards in. This ball should release upon impact. That's well right of the flagstick, middle of the green, then chases out to the back quadrant. That is not an automatic two-putt upcoming for Patrick Cantlay. His birdie putt's going to be 40, 50 feet away.
Yeah, but just out of position off the tee, and then did the cardinal sin of not putting the ball back in the fairway and had a bad angle, Freddie. And I think that's going to be, it's all about angles out here on this golf course, Freddie, and play from the fairway.
Dennis, we've been saying this all week. If you miss the fairway, you are playing defense and hoping for par on this golf course. The rough is very, very punishing. Rory McIlroy missed the fairway, but put his second in the short grass, now has 136 in. Wedge flies in the air, front left hole location. Got to be careful of the false front. This to the right-hand side of the flagstick and sticks the landing. Make him 15 feet away from birdie on the opening hole. Rory McIlroy playing railroad.
Yeah, and that was actually a little bit of a conservative play to the right, but spot on his number. Really well judged on getting that ball pin high. So a decent look for Rory at number one, trying to join Hideki at 2 under.
Yeah, after the salvo drop by Hideki Matsuyama with a sandy eagle at the first hole. So that par 5 does become critical today. It's not been an easy par 5. In fact, it's only playing 3 under par today with all these groups on the course now except the final pair through there. So Matsuyama, the only one to make a 3 at that first hole so far. There have been a couple of hole outs, one at the 4th, Lanto Griffin at the short par 4 from short of the green, and then the hole-in-one today by Corey Connors at the 6th hole. But even with 2 par 5s this week, Dennis, it's part of the difficulty of Olympia Field. It's not exactly like they're gettable par 5s at all this week, both front and back 9.
You're right, there's virtually 0 gimme holes, and now Louis Oosthuizen at the 3rd, about 18 feet, breaking right to left, and that's right in the middle for Louis Oosthuizen. That's a nice little start for him. Par birdie, he is back to even par, headed to 4. Louis trying to climb his way all the way from the last man in the field to get in to the Tour Championship.
Yeah, and he's going to have to climb even further. A projection right now needs at least a tie for 2nd, possibly a solo 3rd for him to get high enough to move on to Atlanta, but that's a good way to start the day. 1 under, Will.
182 out of the thick left-hand rough. Hideki Matsuyama off eagle at 1, plays into the 2nd. It looked to be pretty crisp contact, maybe leaking out to the right ever so slightly. Oh, yes, it does. I think that got on top of the bunker down the right-hand side and not in the sand. I'm telling you what, guys, we talked about Hideki Matsuyama's inability to find fairways. It nearly cost him big time here at 2. He yanked one way left on this dogleg right, hit high up into the trees and actually kicked back towards the fairway into the rough. Had there not been a tree in his path, he would have found a penalty area that I didn't even think was in play left of the tree line here at 2. So Matsuyama short-sighted in the rough here at the green at number 2, but fortunately he's still playing his original golf ball.
It's just not making sense. He's such a good driver of the golf ball, but he is not driving the ball worth a darn this week. I mean, it is unbelievable. And smoke and mirrors is not going to get it done here. You can't keep going to that and hoping that you're going to be able to scramble your way around the golf course. Although, if a couple under par every day or 1 under par is pretty good, if you got a great short game, you don't have to hit it that great, but eventually it's going to catch up with you.
His short game obviously has been terrific this week. Let's go back to 1, Fred.
And Patrick Cantlay, 53 feet for the birdie upcoming. 72nd this year in strokes gained putting. 3rd this week, however. He'll put this on the flat, catch a slope, and will bend back down to the left-hand side. Flagstick in the cup and unattended. Patrick Cantlay dressed in black today. And a full shoulder turn and strike. Ball across the flat. Now is going to catch the ridge. Needs to funnel down. Keep coming. Going to miss that on the low side. And the ball continues to work out below the cup. An uphill par putt upcoming for Patrick Cantlay. By the way, I think I should explain. I said moments ago they're playing railroad. That's not some exotic golf term like playing Army golf. Railroad is the name of this opening hole because the railroad runs right to the left of this. Maybe you can hear the 1 o'clock to Naperville in the background.
Let's go up ahead. Take the train to Will.
110 yards out, Dustin Johnson through the fairway, though, in the heaviest rough at the second hole. He's actually having to lift his feet straight up and down. Cannot slide through the thick grass. Wedge gets it towards the front edge of the green, takes a couple of hops and won't get onto the putting surface. We had a pitch from there for Dustin Johnson at 2.
And now back at 1. I'm thinking railroad appropriate way to start the day because, Fred, certainly this week you want to stay on the tracks. It's easy to get derailed.
That's too much for me to digest in one sitting here, Earl. Rory McIlroy walks into his 12-footer for birdie at the first. Railroad comes by in the background as Rory McIlroy stands in, trying to get it. Birdie at the first, rolls that up, turning to the left at the edge, go in. Oh, doesn't. That's a good putt, though, out of Rory McIlroy. A solid opening hole, solid 5 on the card, and he will remain 1 under through 1.
We're starting to see some fireworks out on the golf course in different places, seeing some hole outs, and it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to happen for some of these guys late in the day, because there are some scores to be shot, and there's some guys hitting some quality golf shots. The golf course itself looks gettable, Earl, but for whatever reason, we're seeing all these bogeys that are just like silly mistakes. It sounds sad. These guys are professionals, and the golf course is so hard, it's making them look a little silly.
Right back to Will Haskett.
Lie is pretty clean for Hideki Matsuyama on top of the bunker at 2. Not a lot of green to work with. Wedge through with a lot of acceleration onto the surface of the green, tracking up to the hole, and that is kick-in par for Hideki Matsuyama. You guys can check the stats. He was 3rd in strokes gained around the green through the first 2 rounds with a hole out from the bunker at 1 for eagle, and now this little tasty play from the side of the green. I'm going to guess he's either at the top or right near it in terms of around the green. A wizard so far this week. I just don't know how many spells he has left with all the damage being done off the tee and with the irons.
Well, he's still 3rd.
They're not. Yeah, he's still 3rd. He just got the second one posted there, so he's still 3rd, but still awful good. If he stays 3rd, strokes gained around the green, it's going to be just fine, but he needs to hit more fairways.
Well,
golly, he's got to hit fairways.
Yeah, he does, but he doesn't is the thing. 141st in driving accuracy on the PGA Tour, but the other stuff, when we talk about him, the other parts of his game, he's 12th this year, strokes gained around the green, 4 strokes gained approach the green, 2nd in strokes gained tee to green. So he's got every part of it working right now, and with him, it's usually about the putter, but you don't need to use a putter if you keep holing out, and he's done that for a couple of days now, and those 2 hole outs have vaulted him into the lead here on a Saturday, Will.
52 feet away, Dustin Johnson trying to get back on the right course here in this 3rd round. It was just a debilitating 6 to start the easiest hole of the golf course, make a bogey, and making it even worse the fact that it is a par 5. Dustin's brother Austin had the flagstick out, and now DJ is telling him to put it back into the cup. New rules of golf, it wouldn't matter whether he's on the green or not, but DJ is just on the fairway. He's got to come up over a little bit of a ridge of that fairway cut for about 5 feet before it gets onto the putting surface and then rolls a little truer. The roll was very true onto the green. It's outside right, turning it back left. This looks really good just to the left side. I'm telling you what, his distance control with the putter, outside a 1-3 putt yesterday, he has been so good. What a weapon right now in the hands of Dustin Johnson. That is a ho-hum tap-in par to settle things down here at 2. DJ at +1 as we head to 3.
That's a great observance right there, Will. He's short putting, long putting, everything's been really good, but the thing that he's done so well from long range is he hasn't had to work on the second putts, and a lot of players have really struggled with putts outside 30 to 40 feet this week.
Well, Matsuyama has been spectacular. Last couple of days, had a hole-out birdie in his round yesterday. He's only one, and today, hole-out at the first. That was for eagle. And Matsuyama, 2 under through 2, has taken the lead at 2 under par, 1 up on Rory and Patrick Cantlay as our PGA Tour radio coverage from Olympia Fields Country Club continues. Second of last event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. This is the BMW Championship.
In the 3rd hole after a hole-out eagle at the par 5 first. Patrick Cantlay, Rory McIlroy playing the second, both of them with pars on the first hole. Cantlay in the rough on the right-hand side at the par 4 second hole. The lie is good, no tree trouble. Rory McIlroy absolutely knocked the cream cheese out of his drive. He's in position alpha.
Earl, the very first album I ever purchased with my own money was a Chicago album back when I was in the 6th grade. Very first.
Does anyone know what time it is? It's time for some playoff golf on a early afternoon on Saturday in Chicago. We're about 25 miles or so south of the Loop, downtown Chicago. Olympia Fields Country Club, which was established 105 years ago. 1915. This is the 117th playing of the BMW Championship. Tournament, of course, used to be the Western Open, which dates back to 1899. So this is the third oldest tournament on the PGA Tour, behind only the Open Championship and the U.S. Open. Tom Wormy.
John Rahm has a birdie putt at the closing hole, the 18th, from back middle to a back right hole location, 37 feet away. His second shot came from 185 yards away, left side of the fairway at this long par 4 to close it out. John Rahm +2 for the championship, 4 under for the day, looking for 5 under. Rolls it down the slope, breaking to the right. Toward the cup for Rahm, continues to trickle to the right, and that'll leave him with a short par putt. That's pretty good from that position. He couldn't be overly aggressive because it was downhill. John Rahm will finish this off and match the round of the week with a 66 and +2 for the championship with 3 rounds complete.
And more importantly, climbing was his way into at least being a little bit of a factor. It'll be interesting to see what the scoring's going to be like in the afternoon, but you got to think that with the scoring and where it's at right now, that he's only going to improve in that number, tied for 12th right now. Attrition, when scoring is over a shot over par, it's not going in the other direction most likely. So he should have given himself at least an opportunity going into Sunday.
You know, Fred Dennis was saying he bought the Chicago album. Maybe has been his first album purchase. I think I might have 1 or 2 still around on 8-track. That's how far I go back, and they go back, Fred.
350 off the tee for Rory McIlroy, 113 in. Rory, beautiful angle here, left-hand side of the fairway, right-hand hole location. Towering wedge in the air. This should have some juice to it. Tight hole location. 1 hop. Tries to get it to spin. Won't do it. Still a nice play to within about 15 feet or so for Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, it's a good play. I mean, he's putting the ball in play and giving himself an opportunity. That second hole has played very difficult in this round of golf with the change in the winds. It's played 12 over par, 4th most difficult hole on the property. So get the ball in the fairway, give yourself an opportunity. There's only been 3 birdies on that second hole, the hardest hole to birdie on the front 9 today.
Back to you, Fred.
Patrick Cantlay, a wild drive, but he's okay in the rough over a tree from right at 100 yards. 104, the number, just cleared the bunker and doesn't get that on the green. I thought he could do much better with that, maybe just on the very front edge, but for the second hole in a row, that's going to be a long distance putt upcoming for Patrick Cantlay. Early asked the question, does anyone really know what time it is? My question to you, does anyone really care about the time?
I'd say maybe 25 or 6.
25 or 6 to 4 is where I was going with that one.
I mean, we can go on forever
We
on
can.
that. You know, McIlroy is just hammering the driver, and this is something he talked to Fred about afterwards yesterday, after the round. Dennis, you know, he's the struggles coming into this week, and his point to Fred was, you know, look, that's the strength of my game. It has to be the strength of my game. He made the driver switch, and he's going to, you know, not just try to keep the ball in play. He's going to try to pound the golf ball. He's been doing it for a couple of days, Will.
138 yards out and a long consultation between Dustin Johnson and his brother Austin on the bag. First cut down the left-hand side at the 3rd hole. It is called Ararat. Up the hill, DJ sends it to a back middle hole location. Wants a nice big bounce and then some spin, and it's executed perfectly. Didn't take the big bounce, but took a subtle one and then released. Beautiful shot by Dustin Johnson, looking for his first birdie of the day. It's inside of 8 feet here at the 3rd. And now Hideki Matsuyama has found a fairway. We mentioned how difficult that has been. 2 of 3 today after hitting just 9 of 28 the first 2 rounds. Somewhat ironic that he finds a fairway that he can't see off the tee here at 3. There's a big shelf that falls down for the players. It's a blind tee shot, and they come back up the hill to a green that has definitely gotten pretty khaki up at the putting surface. It'll be out here in about 15 minutes, I would imagine, putting some water on it. Hideki fires this one up the hill. This is leaking out right, not the best of contact, but does take a big skip forward before it puts on the brakes. It's outside of 17 feet on the right-hand side. Just a little bit of a block from Hideki, but a chance to string a couple of birdie looks together here now at the 3rd.
Yeah, and the big thing for Hideki is that he just yesterday when he missed when he hit the fairway, he didn't hit the green. And that's the thing I think that was really part of it. I mean, he makes it really hard on himself when he was missing the fairway. He only hit 3 fairways yesterday, and 2 of those holes he missed the green. So at least here he hit a fairway and a green together, even though it's a little wide right. It's still doing something simple has not been his MO all week.
Fred Albers, back to you at the second.
Well, Patrick Cantlay, 51 feet away, left it 3 feet shy of the cup. Next up would be Rory McIlroy. He's in the 25-foot range for birdie. Patrick Cantlay has not given himself a reasonable birdie look so far.
No, and, right now, certainly Patrick Cantlay, Dennis, is, still at 1 under par, and there's not many scores, still only 3, Fred. It's been a week where you just got to keep yourself in it.
Well, it starts with putting it in the fairway off the tee. That's what Rory McIlroy did, wedged to 25 feet. A chance for birdie at the second. The stroke coming up, needs to turn to the left-hand side. Now approaching the hole at the edge. Rory had his hands raised and left it short. And Rory McIlroy will walk up and tap in his par. 3 feet remaining for the par upcoming for Patrick Cantlay. By the way, Patrick Cantlay has had 446 putts from 3 feet or less. He has made every one of those. 446 for 446.
There's the number. There you go. Thank you for that. Freddie?
Probably about to make it 447 for 440. Yep. I mean, that's how you play tough golf courses, though. You've got to make all these testers to avoid the sloppy drop shots, and that's what he does so well. Fred stepping in here.
Well, it wasn't a good drive, wasn't a good second. I'd say that was a quality play from 51 feet away with his attempt at birdie. Now the cleanup for par and to remain at 1 under. Patrick Cantlay at the second, takes his stance, gives it a little waggle. These 3-footers on these firm, fast greens absolutely get your attention. And Patrick Cantlay takes it back and strokes that ball into the cup. And Patrick Cantlay still perfect from 3 feet and in on the season. I'll tell you, though, if you do not hit the fairway at the par 4 third hole, you're looking at bogey.
Well, and up ahead, Hideki Matsuyama did. He's looking at birdie, Will.
He did, but where he left himself, I think that's why he was so dissatisfied with his second, is that he's left it to the right-hand side, and while he has 20 feet, comes up a hill and then will get shot from right to left. Big gust of breeze starts to blow a little bit of leafy debris across the green. Hideki has stayed locked in and focused. One more look down the line. Slowly takes the putter back, accelerates through it gently up over that ridge, now turns back to the left. That's going to miss on the high side. Whoa, now. Maybe 3 feet coming back down the slope for Hideki Matsuyama and his par here at the third.
His rhythm to his stroke looks better than it has. I mean, it's very interesting when you have a player that has a very deliberate kind of backswing. Their stroke doesn't kind of mirror their golf swing. And most good putters, their stroke kind of mirrors their golf swing. And Hideki's always seemed to have a trouble finding that rhythm that's right for him when it comes to putting. And it looks better this week than it's looked in a long, long time.
We almost had our second hole out of the day at 4. Adam Scott from 87 yards hit it inside a foot. 2-hopper that stopped just next to the cup, so he's going to have a tap-in birdie to get him to 1 under on the round and even par for the week. And one of those trying to play their way inside the top 30. Great shot there. Dennis, my untrained eye, I'll leave it to the expert you. Are the greens a little more receptive today? Are they looking that way?
Yeah, they are. They said they didn't get much moisture last night, but I think they were so firm and so fast and kind of on the edge that they had to give them a little more water. And I'm sure, Will, you kind of agree with that.
I do, Dennis, but you can see here at the third, this is one of the more elevated greens, that it's starting to lose a little bit of luster. 7 feet birdie putt for Dustin Johnson, and this one pours in the right edge. All right, a bogey at 1, now a birdie at 3, back to where he began the day at even par as DJ walks, or I should always say struts, off the third green.
I think the thing that you need to understand when it comes to greens, and people just don't have any idea and concept of really what's going on when it comes to it. You've got 18 greens out there, Earl. They're kind of like children. You don't treat them all exactly the same. They all need a little different coaxing. They all need a little different kick in the butt, whatever it is, to get them to do things. Greens are the same way. Some that are high and exposed need a lot more water than those that are in the shade and in a low area and all those things. And trying to get 18 greens to be consistent throughout, that is a job that is only for professionals, man. They are really good at it if they can pull that off.
Hideki Matsuyama tapped in. He stays 2 under in front by 1. Fred Albers.
On the tee at Ararat. That's the par 4 third hole. Less than driver off the tee here at this 469-yard hole for Rory McIlroy, and he pumps that into the middle of the fairway. Patrick Cantlay missed it wide right in the rough. It is severe rough to the right-hand side. I mentioned this hole called Ararat. It is a severely elevated green, and biblical scholars will recognize the name Ararat. That is the mountain in Turkey where Noah's Ark came to rest. Every once in a while, you'll see a story about satellite images from space. Noah's Ark found outline of a ship under the ice and snow of Mount Ararat in Turkey.
Well, a day where we've had more scores in the 60s than we've seen so far this week. John Rahm has one of the best ones of the week. Shot a 4 under par 66. He's standing by with Tom Wormy.
John, 66 today. Fantastic move on a Saturday. How'd you get it done?
Hard to believe, but if you tell me when I was standing on my first hole, hitting my third shot from the 9th fairway and par 3 wood, did not see this coming. Truth is, I've been swinging pretty well all week. Just a couple shots, a couple mistakes, maybe mental mistakes more than anything that I cleaned up yesterday on the range, and felt much better today. Hit it really good off a tee, put it on the fairway when I needed to most of the time, and I was able to attack the golf course a little bit more. But I think there was a couple moments during the round that kept things going. I think that second putt on 5 was key to get the momentum going, and then the par putt on my 9th hole, right? I mean, those are important. So being able to make a few of those was key. And then, like I said, kept putting it on the fairway and giving myself chances, and was able to get away with the 4 under today.
Pleased are you after a struggle perhaps on Thursday with the 75, and now you head to Sunday, you're in contention here.
Yeah, I was never too desperate after the round, just knowing how difficult the golf course is. And after Thursday, I knew if I could shoot 3 days under par, no matter what it was, I wasn't going to be too far off the lead. Yesterday I played good enough and wasn't able to make the putts. Today I played, maybe a little bit better and made a few putts. And we'll see how things go. There'll be somebody probably that distances himself and maybe finishes a 3-4 under par, but playing this golf course on a Sunday under pressure is a completely different deal. So maybe I can, sneak in from behind and give the leaders a little bit of a scare tomorrow.
John, good luck tomorrow, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, the situation that he mentioned about what happened at number 5, he actually hit the green in regulation, but he picked his ball up without marking it, so that incurred a penalty, and he was a little shaken up. And from there, he lagged his putt up to 6.5 feet and made that 6.5 footer for a bogey. So as I mentioned earlier, there's those little things that he talked about. He didn't talk about any of the 5 of the birdies that he made. He talked about that bogey putt that he ended up making there and a par putt at number 9 that keeps momentum. And I think that's a big factor in these rounds of golf. It's more about par saves than possibly making birdies. And that was a great round of golf. So that really, he only hit it 65 times. He just picked it up without putting a coin down, Earl. How many times do you think that happens on the PGA Tour in a single year?
You're listening to exclusive coverage of the BMW Championship, the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs, from Olympia Fields Country Club in suburban Chicago, Illinois. And as we do at the top and bottom of every hour in our live play-by-play coverage, time now for a leaderboard update brought to you by MasterCard. Tap and go with your MasterCard, the simple, secure way to pay.
And a hold bunker shot at 1, the par 5's difference right now. Hideki Matsuyama splashed one in for the Eagle start today, and Matsuyama moves in front 2 under, a 1-shot lead on Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay, who are both even par early in their rounds, tied for second now at -1. Tied for 4th even par, Louis Oosthuizen, Adam Scott, Brendan Todd, and Dustin Johnson sitting 2 shots back, Fred Albers.
162 middle of the fairway into the 3rd green for Rory McIlroy. Earl, this flagstick deep on the green, 24 on. And the green is only 28 deep, so you have to respect that. This headed for the middle of the green, get a little release there. And it checks up at 20, 25 feet away for Rory McIlroy. Really difficult to take on this flag stick. It's so deep on the green.
Some of the other players out there, John Rahm finished with that 66, as we just mentioned, 4 under par round of golf. He's +2. He's currently tied for 12th. I predict he'll be higher than that when it's all said and done. Justin Thomas projected 3rd right now, shot a 1 over par 71. And Tiger Woods, a 2 over par 72, making a triple at 17. He's at +10. Let's get back out to Fred.
And Rory McIlroy, ball is further away than what I first thought. He's going to be outside of 30 feet. Now Patrick Cantlay from the rough. All about trying to get some spin on here. This ball should release once it lands and leaves it short. That's the problem coming out of the rough. You're trying to judge the spin, see how much it can release. That ball was really going to scoot on these greens and unable to control the distance or the spin. That becomes a really tough par now for Patrick Cantlay, short of the green.
Path to the PGA Tour in southwestern Indiana this week, round number 3, the Corn Ferry Tour Championship, presented by United Leasing and Finance. South Africa's Dari Vanderwalt and Seth Reeves share the lead at 12 under par. Gregory 6th, solo 3rd right now on the front nine, -11, and 1 shot back.
Louis Oosthuizen now at the par 4 5th hole. This is a long one, outside 30 feet. Climbs the ridge, breaking from left to right, and it doesn't have enough pace. That's going to come up short. I don't think it quite got to 3 feet, so a little work left for Louis to get his par there to stay 100 in his round and even in total at the 5th.
And trying to keep this push going, which started with his birdie to make it inside the top 70 on the number, on the bubble, for this week's BMW Championship. Right now, he still projects outside the top 30. Oosthuizen with a 1 under start today, 37th in FedEx Cup points. So far, 4 players project in to the top 30 here on Saturday. Patrick Cantlay, Joaquin Niemann, Adam Scott, and Mackenzie Hughes. And the Canadian Hughes would be that 30th and final player in, 3 points up on Cameron Smith right now for the last spot.
Man, I was in. I can't remember how easily I made it when I got into the Tour Championship back in '99. It was a completely different setup. The way it was with money. But I know the year that my rookie year when I kept my card early, I ended up finishing 129, and that was a soft number because guys that didn't have cards to start the year were still on the money list. It was a different system, and I was the last guy in at that number. I think Justin Leonard ended up being the last guy in, a little higher. But, I mean, I missed the cut in Vegas, the last tournament of the year, and I was calculating stuff and doing permutations. Am I going to keep my card on the PGA Tour my rookie year? It was insanity, pure insanity.
Let's go to Will Haskett now, the 4th.
Well, it's such a different hole today, Earl, isn't it? With the wind just shifting enough, it's a little bit down and helping players. Players just blasting it past the bunker down the left-hand side, opening up a back right hole location. Hideki Matsuyama taking dead aim from just outside of 80 yards with a wedge. He has stepped this off to a perfect number. Boy, trying to really spin this ball. He sent it all the way to the hole. Oh, it landed right next to it, and he's able to pull the string. Wow. I mean, that one was 2 inches away from jarring it on the bounce, and then it hopped to about 5 feet, spun back inside 5 feet for a birdie look for Hideki Matsuyama here at 4.
That was a very impressive shot. You could hear it, and Will heard it immediately. He goes, man, he's really trying to spin that. The thump was there. Will, now DJ.
DJ trying to go with the skipper here from 79 yards. Dennis, this one lands on the front portion when he wants it to go, but it hops once and now puts on the brakes and will not climb the slope. And that one was one maybe wasn't comfortable with what type of shot to play there, but just did not want to go long, and instead it's come up some 25 feet shy. So DJ will be putting first with Matsuyama in tight here at 4.
Speaking of that stretch here, 4 and 5 up ahead, Louis Oosthuizen missed the 4-footer for a par save, so he taps in for a bogey. And boy, you know, you're in a spot for Oosthuizen, the last man in the field this week. You can't afford those kind of bogeys this weekend. Let's go back now to Fred.
Patrick Cantlay, 19 of 16 scrambling this week, some 70 feet away. His ball in the long grass right above the bunker at the par 4 3rd hole. Lands that on the green. Now that ball's going to skate. Going to skate 5-10 feet away. He'll have about a 10-footer to save his par and remain at 1 under. We're playing the 3rd hole.
All right, not a horrible shot, but one that it's so tough out of the rough when you've got to land in such a specific spot to get the ball to get close to the hole from the fairway, and that's what the players are dealing with. And even when the pins are back and guys have wedges in their hand like DJ just had, he played a very conservative shot underneath because long is dead.
3 missed fairways for Cantley. He's got to settle things down here early as Saturday, Fred.
Rory McIlroy from outside at 30 feet for birdie at our par 4 third hole. Stands even on the day, 1 under for the week. Sends that ball up the hill. Flag stick is in. This is on a nice line. Needs to stretch. Just clip the hole on the right-hand side. That's an excellent putt out of Rory McIlroy. Could have gone in. Just slid by. Maybe 2 feet remaining for the par for Rory McIlroy. He should par the first 3 holes.
I'm very